Alright. How's it going, people? Hope you all are doing tremendously well and crushing it in life. Anyways, today we're going to talk about loneliness. Yes, it is that annoying little silent devil that disturbs every human being alive. And I couldn't agree more. Human beings are social creatures by default, and we all need interactions, companionships, and intimacy at certain points in our lives. However, like mentioned before, the game of life is never about always indulging and showering yourselves in the good times, like the parties, the sex, the laughter, and the excitement. You will inevitably have to face the bad and fucking annoying times too, such as when you're financially broke, when your girlfriend leaves you for another man, and when you are severely sick or injured. Basically, the pain of reality, really. That's just how life works, and loneliness is only one of those bastards that you will have to face eventually, and you either will succumb to it or you will develop tolerance and ultimately conquer it. That's literally your only choice. So, what are the ways that you can utilize in order to mitigate and overcome loneliness eventually? Alright, now before we start, keep in mind that this is my very own personal methods on how to eventually conquer my problem of loneliness. And I've got to be honest, it's been very effective for me utilizing them. So leave a comment down below if they help you people in overcoming your loneliness, or if they are just complete bullshit to you guys. Either way, I'm just trying to help. Now, I personally experienced loneliness for most of my life, by not having many friends to hang out with since I was 5 years old, having multiple heartbreaks, and by choosing a profession that doesn't allow me good access to get to know other people. So I think I'm pretty experienced in the loneliness department, probably at manager level. But anyways, I'm not going to claim that I'm the absolute expert or the guru or the wizard that will repel your loneliness away from you. Expelliarmus loneliness. Alright, now seriously, enough of that shit. Let's get straight to it. So the first method, now I'm going to start from the simplest to the hardest on this one. The first one is the most obvious one, really, is to work on yourself. I mean, this is a no-brainer, really. When you are by yourself, you have all the time and the resources in the world to work on yourself and improve yourself to grow as a human being. Whether it is your career, dreams, goals, skills, your knowledge, your looks, your wisdom, your crappy sense of style, whatever. In my own opinion, this is the perfect time to make the most out of your life. In fact, I'm going to proudly say it. 2020 was the best year of my life. Yep. And if you disagree, you all can suck it, yeah? Because it's literally the year where I went from a soy boy to a full-on testosterone-fueled Viking. Yeah. But really though, in all seriousness, your time is the most precious commodity you can have as a human being. Even more important than money. Once it's spent, you can never get it back. You can always get more money, but you can't get more time. So better make the most out of it if you want life to go into your favor. Exercise regularly. Read books regularly. Meditate. Learn new skills. Try out new things. Do some experiments. Invest your money. Seek new interests and hobbies. Seek answers on stuff that you are curious about. Literally everything is in your full control when you are alone. Especially in today's time, where everything is available online. What excuses do you have as a man? Don't be a lazy fuck with no drive, gentlemen. It will literally get you nowhere in life. And for those of you who think that I'm just mocking people who face tragedies in 2020, I lost my one and only grandfather in 2020. And I had to deal with that while still recovering from a major heartbreak at the end of 2019. While also facing the fact that my parents caught the virus and was in a life-threatening situation for a whole month of August last year. And I had to be even more isolated than ever. However, I didn't use them as excuses not to carry on in life and just pathetically feel sorry for myself and complain and blame the world or God for whatever happened. I use it as an opportunity to face and embrace the painful circumstances in order to eventually develop a thick skin and an even thicker mental fortress. I use the circumstances to grow as a person, and that is what I preach to all of you gentlemen to do too. Trust me, you will only thank yourselves. Don't wish for an easy life because life will never get easier as you grow. Wish for a stronger back instead. The second method is to accommodate yourself, or in other words, give yourself occasional treats. Cook yourself or order yourself a nice meal. Get a new and more comfortable chair for your workstation, or clean up your messy room and place a good air freshener to make it more pleasant to lay down in. Basically, it is about re-engineering your environment to mitigate the effect of the circumstance that you are facing. Now don't get this wrong though, it is way different than indulging yourself in pleasure by watching porn and masturbating or smoking weed. Pleasure is to sedate yourself and shift your mind to escape the harshness of reality, while accommodating yourself is to simply enlighten your mind or make things simpler, more pleasant, and comfortable in the face of the harshness of reality. If you gentlemen still don't get it, it's basically like going for a drive-by at McDonald's to get a pair of ice cream while you're on a long, mundane, and boring journey on the motorway. It's just about making things around you more helpful for you when you are facing an unpleasant or undesired circumstance. Third is understanding that your life's biggest and most important decisions are made by you. You are the master of your own life. You are responsible for your own life. The career choice you made, the money you want to spend, save, and invest, the things that you want to do, they will ultimately be your very own decisions to take. You can look for advice and inputs from other people, but at the end of the day, it is you who have to make that call, according to your own plans, intuitions, and assessments. So don't rely on other people to make decisions for you, because if you do that, you're basically disrespecting yourself, and you're basically allowing other people to control your life, your thoughts, and your actions. Basically, you're being a people pleaser, just like I explained explicitly in the last video. And another thing is that people, such as your friends and colleagues, are often busy with their own priorities, and they will always choose their priorities over yours. That is just how it is. Fourthly, and this is a hard one for some people, is to embed within your mind that people will inevitably come and go. The people whom you are close with right now may not be with you in the next 5 to 10 years. You may choose different life paths, they may move to another country to live somewhere, you may have irreconcilable differences that will inevitably result in separation, or they have entered the next stages in their lives and have new responsibilities to take care of, and they may not have that much time to accompany you anymore. And many other endless different circumstances, gentlemen. Not to say that they will absolutely 100% walk out of your life, no. But there are always possibilities of that happening. Other people, your friends, your girlfriend, your colleagues, your gym buddies, they are not and will never be in your control. So it is unreliable for yourself to allocate your sense of contentment and happiness entirely to them. That is what you gentlemen must accept. Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within your control and some things are not. Epictetus. And speaking of acceptance, that is the final and also the hardest method to apply, is to simply sit and accept that you are currently alone. This is basically the major reason for every one of you, including me back then, who complains endlessly about loneliness. It is because we simply just can't accept the circumstance that we are currently facing. Instead of accepting, we reject. That is why we fight back loneliness instead of embracing it. But again, like I said, pain is absolute and inevitable in life. And rejecting pain is like rejecting life itself. However, the truth is that most of the time we reject loneliness is not because we lack intimacy or companionship. It is simply because we are constantly trying to adjust our lives to the expectations of society. And that is what really causing the problem for us, not being able to accept loneliness really. We fear missing out when we're not hanging out. We fear that we might lose the connections that we have developed with the people we've met. And we fear being abandoned or deserted or left behind. Again, similarly to what I discussed in the last video, we do what society do in order not to get rejected by them. We look too much outside of ourselves to find happiness, instead of relying on ourselves for it. And that is what you must learn not to do. When you've been compelled by circumstances to be disturbed in a manner, quickly return to yourself and do not continue out of tune longer than the compulsion lasts. Marcus Aurelius. So how, you may ask, how are we going to eventually accept loneliness? It is to simply sit in the fire until you are comfortable with it. And yes, I know it sounds terrible, and yes, it actually takes time for you to eventually accept that loneliness is inevitable. But it is the only way to eventually conquer it. Don't reject it or fight it. Embrace it and accept it. That is where you will experience the state of aloneness instead of loneliness. And just in case some of you are still worried that you might not overcome loneliness in the end, here's my quote that will hopefully give you guys hope when facing loneliness. Acceptance leads to understanding, rejection leads to ignorance, and acceptance will also result from the eventual fatigue of trying to endlessly reject. Thank you for watching.